Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier. This is a story of fire and ice. On one side, Muhammad Ali, the poet of the ring. On the other, Joe Frazier, the tireless workhorse. Their rivalry transcended sport because it divided America, broke hearts, and marked three key dates in 20th century history: 1971, 1974, and 1975. It all began in the early 70s. After being stripped of his title for refusing to serve in Vietnam, Ali made his comeback. Meanwhile, Frazier, undefeated, became world champion in 1970 after beating Jimmy Ellis. At that moment, both men stood at the peak of their powers. Their clash was inevitable. On March 8, 1971, at Madison Square Garden, came the fight of the century. The whole world watched. Ali taunted, danced, and talked, and Frazier absorbed and countered. In the 15th round, he landed a devastating left hook and Ali went down, got back up, but it was too late. Joe Frazier won by unanimous decision, and for the first time, Muhammad Ali had been defeated. The world was in shock. But that wasn't the end. In 1974, they met again. Ali wasn't as fast and Frazier a bit slower as well. It was a more tactical battle. This time, Ali won on points, a dominant victory, and a rise in tension. What made this rivalry so intense was their public hatred of each other. Ali called Frazier a, quote, gorilla, a moron, and a puppet of the white establishment. Frazier never forgave him. But nothing matched their final bout, October 1st, 1975, in Manila, Philippines. The Thrilla in Manila. The heat was suffocating, the fight brutal and almost inhumane. For 14 rounds, they tore each other apart. Ali would later say, "It was the closest to dying that I've ever been." Frazier, blind in one eye and exhausted, couldn't go on. His trainer stopped the fight before the 15th round. Ali collapsed from exhaustion. He had won, but at what cost? It remains one of the most grueling fights in boxing history. At its core, this rivalry wasn't just athletic. It was political, social, and even racial. Ali represented change, rebellion, and angry black youth. Frazier, unintentionally, was seen as the system's man. But he too was poor, black, and a fighter. Ali had taken the spotlight, leaving Frazier in the shadows. Years later, Ali apologized, but the wounds never fully healed. Frazier never truly forgave. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Roberto Duran. In one corner was Sugar Ray Leonard, America's golden boy, Olympic champion, media darling. He was fast and charming. On the other side, Roberto Duran, the street warrior from Panama, nicknamed Hands of Stone. When these two worlds collided in 1980, boxing changed forever. It all started after the 1976 Olympics. Leonard turned pro and rose through the ranks with dazzling speed, but many saw him as too polished and corporate. Duran, already a legend and undisputed lightweight champion, moved up to welterweight for a bigger challenge. For him, Leonard represented everything he despised: the flashy smiles, the big sponsors, the arrogant America. On June 20th, 1980 in Montreal, it was war. Leonard wanted to box, Duran wanted to destroy, and he did. He pressured Leonard, forced him to brawl, and abandoned his style. Leonard took the bait. The result was a points victory for Duran. Leonard lost his unbeaten record, and Duran shouted, "I'm the king." It was a national embarrassment for Leonard, a triumph for Duran. But the story was far from over. Leonard demanded an immediate rematch, and less than 5 months later, on November 25th, 1980 in New Orleans, they met again. This time, Leonard had learned. He didn't try to prove his toughness because he danced, moved, and smiled. He mocked Duran with every feint and every missed punch. Then came the unthinkable. In round 8, Duran raised his hands, backed off, and said, "No mas, no more." He quit in front of millions watching. Nobody understood. Even Leonard was shocked. Some blamed stomach cramps. Others said it was humiliation. But what's certain is that moment became iconic in boxing history. That rematch wasn't just a win, it was a lesson in style, in intelligence, in psychological warfare. Duran never recovered from no mas. Leonard built his legend on it. This wasn't just about revenge. It was mental dominance. Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward. This rivalry had no world titles on the line, no political context, no big marketing stakes. But it had something more rare: heart, and a level of intensity that left a permanent mark on boxing fans. Arturo Thunder Gatti and Mickey Irish Ward, two brawlers, two iron-willed fighters who punched their way into each other's respect. Their first fight was on May 18, 2002 in Uncasville, Connecticut. Gatti was the favorite, known for his blood and guts style and incredible toughness. Ward, the underestimated veteran, had a gritty style and a legendary left hook to the liver. The fight started fast. Punches flew, but nothing prepared anyone for what happened in round 9, a round of brutal, unforgettable violence. Ward landed a crushing body shot that folded Gatti, but he didn't go down. He came back like a man possessed. The round was pure war, and in the end, Ward won by majority decision, but no one talked about winners, only warriors. The rematch came on November 23, 2002. Gatti, who'd injured his hand in the first fight, returned with a smarter game plan. He boxed with precision, avoided brawling, but the fight was still rugged. This time he won by unanimous decision. The score was even. The world wanted a tiebreaker, and the final act came on June 7, 2003. A perfect conclusion to an already legendary trilogy. The fight was tense, balanced, and violent. Gatti broke his hand again in round 4, but fought through it. He won once more by decision. Ward didn't complain. He knew. He had given everything. What made this rivalry so special wasn't just the violence, it was the respect that was born from it. After the third fight, they embraced. A few months later, Mickey Ward retired. Gatti fought on, but these 3 bouts defined his career. That mutual respect never faded. When Arturo Gatti was found dead in 2009 under mysterious circumstances, Mickey Ward was one of the first to speak out. "He was my war brother," he said. "In the ring, they fought like enemies, but outside, they became brothers." Erik Morales versus Marco Antonio Barrera. When we talk about boxing's greatest rivalries, some are about titles, but others transcend the sport. They speak to the soul of an entire nation. Erik Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera fall into that rare category. From their first fight on February 19, 2000, the magic was undeniable. Morales, then the super featherweight world champion, faced Barrera, a dangerous challenger, in a match that exploded with punches, energy, and emotion. The fight became an instant classic. 12 rounds of all-out war, brutal exchanges, and moments where either fighter could have gone down. In the end, Morales won by unanimous decision, but both men left the ring exhausted and bruised. Fans were captivated. This was a golden new chapter for Mexican boxing. The rematch came on June 22, 2001. This time, Barrera was sharper and more aggressive. Once again, it was a war marked by intense bodywork and high-level technique. Barrera dominated most of the rounds and won by unanimous decision, leveling the rivalry. Mutual respect was already growing, but so was the tension. Their third and final bout on November 27, 2002 was worthy of a Hollywood finale. After 2 epic battles, they met once more in an arena packed with passionate fans. Morales came in more precise, while Barrera relied on power and stamina. The fight was tight, nervous, and every round was its own twist. Morales won by decision, sealing the trilogy as one of the greatest and most intense in boxing history. Manny Pacquiao versus Juan Manuel Marquez. Few rivalries in boxing history can match that of Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez. Between 2004 and 2012, these 2 welterweights delivered 4 unforgettable bouts. It was a saga filled with skill, emotion, and a final punch etched forever in the minds of fans. Manny Pacquiao is a living legend of the ring. Born in 1978 in the Philippines, he conquered the world with blazing speed, lightning-fast combinations, and relentless daring. On the other side was Juan Manuel Marquez, born in 1973 in Mexico, the embodiment of a technical, methodical, and patient style. Unlike Pacquiao's wild aggression, Marquez relied on precision, impeccable defense, and powerful counters. Their first encounter in May of 2004 set the tone, a tight duel ending in a controversial blow, lighting the flame of a rivalry that would only grow. The rematch came in March of 2008, again another close battle, ending without a clear winner, as if the boxing gods just couldn't choose. Their third fight in November of 2011 also became legendary with a narrow win for Pacquiao. But the fourth and final bout on December 8th of 2012 delivered the most iconic moment. After several grueling rounds, Marquez landed a perfect counter right hand that sent Pacquiao crashing to the canvas. The fight ended instantly. That punch, stopping the Filipino legend cold, was an emotional explosion for boxing fans, a frozen moment when anything could happen, even to a superstar. But beyond the knockout, the quality of the rivalry stood out. These 4 fights were masterclasses in boxing, fast-paced, technical, strategic wars fought with heart and intelligence. Antonio Cervantes, or Kid Pambele, versus Esteban de Jesus. In the world of boxing, some rivalries shine under the spotlight, while others, just as essential, remain in the shadows. That's the case with the confrontation between Antonio Cervantes, known as Kid Pambele, and Esteban de Jesus, 2 legends of the super lightweight or junior welterweight division, whose clashes in the 1970s marked the evolution of this often overlooked weight class. Antonio Cervantes, born in 1945, is a Colombian icon who rose to become one of the top champions of the 1970s. Nicknamed Kid Pambele, he was known for his aggressive style, bottomless stamina, and unshakable determination. He was the first Colombian boxer to win a world title, defending it numerous times and becoming a cornerstone of the division with uncommon longevity. Facing him was Esteban de Jesus, a Puerto Rican boxer as talented as he was understated. Born in 1951, de Jesus stood out for his refined technique, speed, and tactical mastery. Their first fight in 1972 was a test of endurance and will. Cervantes, then the reigning champion, battled de Jesus through 15 grueling rounds, ultimately retaining his title on points in a very close contest. But the real turning point came in the rematch a year later in 1973. This time, de Jesus emerged victorious, ending Pambele's reign with a decisive win. The title change also represented a clash of styles. Cervantes' raw power and tenacity versus de Jesus' finesse and precision. Tragically, the rivalry took a darker turn outside the ring when de Jesus was later diagnosed with HIV under still debated circumstances. It marked a somber chapter in his life and career. Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. For over a decade, boxing lived in anticipation of one rivalry, whispered in every press conference and plastered across every media headline. Floyd Money Mayweather Jr. versus Manny Pacquiao. Nicknamed Money, Mayweather is a unique figure in boxing history. Born in 1977 into a family of fighters, he built an extraordinary career on an almost impenetrable defense and unmatched tactical intelligence. Mayweather symbolizes discipline, control, and pure ring IQ. Facing him was Manny Pacquiao, Pac-Man, the embodiment of explosive aggression and Filipino grit. Born in 1978, Pacquiao rose from poverty to become one of Asia's greatest sports icons, with an astonishing record across multiple weight classes. Their rivalry became something of a modern myth, fueled by social media and global media hype. Then, on May 2nd of 2015 at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, the boxing world finally witnessed the long-awaited clash between these two titans. The fight was a tactical display. Mayweather, true to form, dictated the pace, dodging most of Pacquiao's attacks while landing sharp jabs and perfectly timed counters. Pacquiao tried to break through Mayweather's airtight defense with relentless offense, but his impact was limited partly due to a shoulder injury. In the end, Mayweather won by unanimous decision, preserving his unbeaten record. The bout was both a celebration and a letdown. For some, it marked the pinnacle of a long-anticipated rivalry, and for others, it felt like a showdown that came too late, missing the spark of its prime. Canelo Alvarez versus Gennady Golovkin. The rivalry between Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin stands as one of the most intense in modern boxing. These two middleweight titans with contrasting styles and personalities defined an era with their high stakes and high drama encounters. Saul Canelo Alvarez, born in 1990 in Guadalajara, Mexico, quickly made a name for himself with a well-rounded fighting style, a rare mix of power, speed, and tactical smarts. On the other side stood Gennady Golovkin from Kazakhstan, a longtime dominant force in the middleweight division, known for his aggressive approach, constant pressure, and ironclad stamina. Their first clash came on September 16, 2017 in Las Vegas. It was one of the most anticipated fights of the decade, both for the elite talent involved and the championship implications. The bout was intense and evenly matched, with tight rounds and thunderous exchanges. But the final verdict, a controversial majority draw, sparked massive backlash. Many fans and analysts felt Golovkin had done enough to win, while others praised Canelo's defense and pinpoint precision. The controversy demanded a rematch, which took place on September 15th of 2018. This time, Canelo walked away with a narrow decision victory, a result that again divided opinion. The fight was razor close, but Canelo outmaneuvered Golovkin at key moments, racking up rounds with sharp counters and bodywork. The win solidified Canelo's place among the greats of his generation, while Golovkin was left to reassess his approach. But the story didn't end there. A third fight took place in 2022 with Canelo once again emerging victorious, cementing his dominance.